If you've ever felt like you're at your wit's end with your teen, constantly worrying, trying to control, but only pushing them further away, then this episode is for you. Today, I'm sitting down with a mom who is exactly where you are. She was anxious, exhausted, desperate for connection, and everything she was trying just wasn't working. But through anchoring in God's love and practicing simple communication skills, everything changed. Her daughter went from shutting down to opening up. Toxic relationships she was in fell away, and peace in this mom's heart replaced fear, and her entire family was transformed in the process. So if you're wondering if it's too late or if change is even possible for you and your family, then stay with me. This conversation will give you hope. Do you long to build lasting connections with your teenager and have conversations that build trust instead of conflict? Welcome to Connect with Your Teens. I'm Terry, a mom, tutu, which is Hawaiian for grandma, and communication coach who went from feeling dismissed and shut out by my teens to becoming a valued and trusted person in their lives. I help moms like you reconnect, speak in ways that invite peace, and create conflict-free conversations, all guided by grace and anchored in God's love. Grab a latte or a favorite cup of tea, and let's get into the heart of it. Hey everyone, we're back for another episode of Connect with Your Teens podcast, and I have a very special guest today. She is an incredible person, mom and wife, and we'll call her Jessica because many of my moms like to protect the privacy of their kids, and I want to respect that. Now, Jessica is a light and inspiration, and I can't wait for you to hear her story. It is amazing. So Jessica, welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited you're here.
Hi, Terry. I'm excited to be here too and talk with you.
Oh, well, it has just been so cool to have a little bit of a front row seat to see what God's done in you, in your life, and with your family relationships. And I know the moms listening are going to be so encouraged and inspired and blessed by your story. First off, I'd love it if you would just give our listeners a little bit of background into who you are and what you do.
Sure. So I am, a wife and a mom. I've been married to my husband since 99, so 27 or so years. I have two kids. One is a sophomore in college now, and one is just out of high school last June. And so we are very busy, but it's like a whole new phase of life where, my husband and I are trying to rekindle our relationship while also balancing this new life of adult kids. And I will say right at the front of this whole talk, it is because of you and your guidance that I am able to have a happy time in my life right now. I'm enjoying my kids, I'm enjoying my husband, and I'm truly enjoying my relationship with God. And so I'm really excited to kind of talk about how we got here.
Oh, that's amazing. It's been so fun to work with you and get to know you. And I'm so grateful and just grateful to God that he brought us together at the time that he did. So
Very much
anyway,
so, same.
Thank you so much for sharing, and congratulations on launching those kids out of high school into the world, and for 27 years of marriage, you said, right?
Yeah.
That's a huge accomplishment.
We're working on that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Jessica, when we met, you were struggling in your relationship with both your kids. And I remember you saying that I am sure it's too late. I'm too late to change things with them. Now, we talked for a bit, and I assured you that you're not too late to make those changes and build good connections with them. And then shortly after, we started working together. And at that time, you decided the time that you were going to be in my program, you wanted to really focus in on your relationship with your daughter first. Jessica, looking back, what was the biggest struggle in your relationship with your daughter before things started to change? And how was that affecting you as a mom? I know it's kind of a loaded question, so I can add a little repeat there because that's a lot to answer, but I would just love you to start sharing your story that way.
Yeah, and I'm glad you actually mentioned that. I really thought I was too late because I think when we met, my kids were maybe 16 and 17 or so.
Right.
And I figured by the time they were 12 and 13, that was all the influence I could have. They were both going down completely different roads that I felt like I was losing control of, and I didn't know if I had just lost the whole battle, lost the whole war, just
Uh,
lost. And so, I figured when I found out what you did, I was like, oh yeah, well, obviously, my kids are almost out of high school, so I definitely that's it. That's it for me. And you really reassured me that you had even worked with moms who had 20-year-olds, and I thought, huh, maybe there really is something to this.
yes,
So
yes.
I'm so glad that I took a leap and kind of just learned a little bit more about what you had to say. And I do remember, the whole looking back at that moment where I decided, okay, I'm going to focus first on my daughter, is I just wanted to protect her because she was starting to get into certain things that just made me suspicious.
Mm,
She would go off with her friends. I didn't really approve of them very much. I knew that her
wow.
friends were bad influences, and then I started to think, well, what if my daughter is a bad influence? Like, what is happening? And I just wanted to help her, but I didn't know how. And she wanted nothing to do with me, really.
Mm,
And
wow,
so
wow.
I tried hard by like forcing my thoughts on her, like trying to I thought it was good for me to like warn her against things
Mm,
because I thought maybe she was getting into things or hanging out with the wrong people, and it just pushed her away even more, and
mm,
I felt powerless. I was praying a lot, but it wasn't the type of prayer that was leading me to really help her, because I felt like even though I was praying, I needed to also involve myself and get my hands in things and make things better.
right, right. It's like the prayer, yes, God, do this, but okay, maybe I
Yeah,
need to
but
do
still
something too.
I'll still get involved.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I trust you, but I got to
Yes.
be in there. Wow. So what I'm hearing is that you were just really feeling discouraged. You were scared about what your daughter was getting into, how
Yep.
that was happening. It was possibly like this sense that I've got to get involved there. I've got to protect her. I've got to do the things. And then what you said you were doing was actually pushing her away, right?
Yes. It
Yeah.
certainly
Okay.
was. It was
Okay.
definitely not helping.
Well, so what made you decide to change and do something different than what wasn't working for you?
So trying to go in and fix everything was not working. I had a real pull to
Mm,
you because, I heard your message and I heard what you were about. It was so grounded and anchored in God that I was
mhm.
like, everything else is not working. What I'm doing is not working. There must be a different way to come at this, because anytime, whatever I try is just not doing the trick.
Not going there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Been there, done that, did that.
Yes.
So I know it's great to have that realization. Finally, it's like the Lord, it's like our eyes can finally see that, okay, this isn't getting me anywhere. And in fact, you talked about how it's affecting you as a mom. How are you feeling? I mean, you were feeling scared, you were feeling
Yes.
discouraged, not sure that there was anything that you could do. Anything else about just how you were feeling in that place?
I was really nervous. I was feeling like a failure for
Ah.
sure. And I feel like most of my actions, I didn't realize it at the time, but through working with you, I realized that it was really, at the core of it was fear
Mm.
and, just the unknown. Yeah, just feeling very insecure because I felt like I had failed.
That's, oh gosh, thank you for saying all that
Yeah.
because so many moms have those similar feelings. So appreciate
Yeah.
your openness and authenticity on that. So Jessica, can you describe the moment when you realized when you started putting into action some of the things we were working on, the moment that you realized something was shifting? What did you do differently, and how did your daughter respond in that moment or shortly after? If there was, it doesn't have to be the moment, but a
Yeah.
moment that was significant for you.
Yeah, I was racking my brain. I do remember like the very first time that I started to like feel a difference. I remember we were in her room because I would always barge into her room, like always. I had
Okay.
like literally a list of reasons I can talk to her, like a
Oh,
topic list of what can I bother her about today so that I can have an excuse to go see her and just like be in the same room
oh
with
gosh,
her
yeah.
and start questioning her. So I remember going in a room and I just asked her like a regular, how was your day? But your voice was like in the back of my head about, okay, just stop and listen and invite her to say more. And so I did. I asked her what happened in her day, and she told me a little something, and I just said, "Oh, that's cool. What else do you want to tell me?" And she kind of hesitated, but then she just kept talking and she just added on. And I just kept doing that. And I just kept zipping my mouth and listening and then just asking, oh, and tell what else until she was kind of done. And then I'd left. And then
Ah,
I left.
yay. So you actually invited her to say more. You kept
Yes.
your mouth closed.
Yes.
You let her talk, and then you didn't pursue it. You just stepped out
I
and
did.
left the conversation in just this nice place.
Yeah. And it was I could tell she was both satisfied and then a little confused that I didn't linger.
Oh, okay. So you caught her a little bit off guard, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
so it was
great.
kind of a good feeling. Of course, I second guessed myself, but I also knew that it was a success
Yes.
because you
Wow.
always said, "What is your intention of what you're doing?" And the intention was connection.
Yes.
I didn't
Build
want to give her
connection.
a third degree. I wanted to just connect with her.
Right. Because the third degree wasn't working, right? The interrogation
No.
tactics didn't work.
Because the third
Didn't
degree kept giving one word answers and eye rolls and
all
short,
the
curt
things.
answers. And this was different.
Wow. How was it for you to stay quiet? Because I know that's a hard thing for moms because we think, oh, we've got things to say, right? I mean, it
Oh,
takes
we
a lot
do.
of self-control. Yes, we do. We have lots of wisdom to impart and things
Yes.
to give advice on. So, how was that for you those first few times to just zip it, as you said, and
Yeah.
listen?
Yeah. Like I had to tell myself, stop talking, stop, don't
Mm.
even start. And it was very hard. And now it's very easy. It's kind of funny. Like now, I love her so much. She talks to me all the time now,
Wow.
like
Yay, praise
literally
God.
all the time. And it's almost like it's just a complete turnaround, a complete 180. And it's amazing. It's amazing.
Wow, that is incredible. You saw some of those changes pretty early on too when we were working together. I want to say within the first month or so of you just
Yeah.
starting to listen, she started to talk even more and more. Am I
Yeah.
remembering that right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
almost like you can tell that your kids want to talk to you. I can
Mm.
see that now looking back because, they're lost and even when they're, trying to put up a front or whatever, just they know deep down that they can trust you, but they don't
Mm.
want to. Or, there's just something there with that. And when you open up by just listening and then inviting for more conversation, they slowly get to understand. It's for me, it was a floodgate from both of my kids because
Ah.
later on, this all worked with my son too. But we'll focus on the girl. And the ultimate signal that this was working was when, and I know you love this story, Terry, but
I
was
do, I
when
do.
I was driving down. I had to take a long drive. It was right after work. So, I wasn't going to go home and see her or whoever. I wasn't going home first. And so I had to take a bit of a drive. And she called to check in with me. She just started talking. And I just kept listening on the phone in the car. By the time I got to my destination, she was still talking and talking about this, that, and the other thing to the
Wow.
point where I had to like say, okay, I'm here. I kind of need to get off the phone. I'm so sorry, but I just do. And she's like, okay, well, why don't you call me when you're coming home? And I said, okay. And so we ended the phone call and I looked at the phone and it said that we had been talking for 48 minutes. And so I took a screenshot of it because it was so exciting.
Uh-huh. Yes,
And we
yes, I
had just
remember
been
that.
talking for so long, and there was just so much great stuff that we were talking about. It was really, really great.
I love that. I remember we talked about that screenshot, and I think I've shared that with other moms. Like, take the screenshot, use that as an anchor when you go back
Mm,
into seeking to anchor yourself, when you're feeling like you got to fix or do things, you can go right back to that, right? And oh
yes.
my gosh, that's so beautiful. And that was fairly early on. You hadn't
Yeah.
been like practicing listening very long. And I just love this. Like both your kids, they just respond to that. And when you were talking, it reminded me that our kids want
Mm,
connection, right? They want to trust us, right?
hmm.
But there's been hurts and wounds, things that we never intended to do. We thought we were doing the right things. They just desire that connection with us. And there's that level of trust that they can have with us that they long for. I
Yeah.
love that zipping it and zipping it and zipping it just opened the floodgates. That's so, so beautiful. So, as your communication changed, you talked about how you started with your daughter, you started using it with your son, and now they are just chatterboxes, for
Yeah.
lack of a better word. They're
Yeah.
just really eager and willing to share their lives with you, which I think is awesome. So, as your communication changed, because we didn't just do listening.
Hmm.
We did, how to ask questions,
Yes.
how to ask them in a way that you're not saying, I got to ask you a question, but asking permission, how to talk with them when
Hmm.
you've got big things you need to talk about. So, overall, as your communication changed, what did you notice over time in you, in your daughter, and in your relationship? And this is kind of connected with you, but in your own spiritual or personal growth. And any of those
Hmm.
that you want to hit at first is fine.
Yeah. We can, I think, talk about just about anything right
Mhm.
now. And she's in this new phase of her life where I want to be able to talk to her about anything.
Mhm.
All the interesting and difficult conversations
Yeah.
that need to happen over the next few years, as she's looking to really move out on her own and be her own
Mhm.
person and find a spouse and just all that stuff. I feel very confident that if she needs advice, she'll come to me because she has. She has
Wow.
very consistently. It's unbelievable.
She's seeking out your advice
It
now.
really is.
That's
Yes.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. And sometimes my husband and I will just like look at each other with this shock and awe in our faces, like she's coming to you again. He'll say, well, she's obviously gonna ask you about it. I go, I know, it's amazing. It's so good.
I love that. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Okay, I got to divert a minute here because I get this question asked a lot to me. You focus on moms. What about the dads? What
Oh
happens
yeah.
there? Like, just talk briefly about that. What did you do? How did your husband get pulled into this?
Mm.
Just whatever you want to share on that topic. I think a lot of moms who are married really have that question.
Yeah, because at first, one thing was, I thought my kids were too old, and I thought I had to drag my husband into it as well, which I knew he just wouldn't, which is fine. He's a guy, right? The guys are just not the same. And when you said no, I focus on moms, it was such a relief because I was like, there's no way I'm gonna get my husband to do communication skills. Like that just was not in the cards. And
Yeah.
so I just went about it on my own. And he saw a change and he doesn't necessarily show any interest in learning what I've learned. I don't even know if he knows I've really learned what I've learned, honestly. But what I have been able to do is tell him either what to do. Like in a situation, I'll say, go ask her this. Like just ask her, see what happens.
Mhm.
Or I can tell she really wants a hug. You can see the smirk on her face, whatever it might be, like that. And he just has followed along, I don't know, in just like this parallel way and
Mhm.
been able to reap the rewards as well because she also has become very open with him too because she sees that my husband and I are solid, and she sees that we both love her very much. And she just recognizes that. And it's just a whole different dynamic, which is just so, so good. I feel like if you're in a strained marriage or if you're in working singly, it's just so nice to know that you by yourself with God,
Yes. Amen.
that is
Amen.
truly all you need
Yeah, that's
because
awesome.
everything else just starts falling into place. And that's kind of like what's been happening. Things have just kind of fallen into place, and we're at a place where I am just so much more at peace because what this all really did, and again, thanks to you, Terry,
You're so
because
sweet.
you truly, you helped guide not just the communication piece, but guided how I approach this specific challenge that I had in my life through the lens of my relationship with Jesus
Mm,
and
yes.
trusting him. I surrendered so much to him early on as we were going through the steps to really anchor ourselves in Christ, praying daily for her, and slowly he brought her out of bad relationships. He brought her out of a bad romantic relationship that was just destroying her. And
Mm,
he brought her into our loving care. Like, I was trying to do
wow.
the communication thing, but the rest of it, I just simply surrendered to God, and He literally took care of it all.
Wow.
And it's again and again, He helped her to just see that when she falls, we're here for her. And now
Hmm.
she comes to both of us for just about everything. Yeah, it's just the best partnership is surrendering to God, and He tells you what to do. And
Yes,
he would
yes.
constantly tell me, just be her mom. Just be her mom.
Mm,
I got it. I
mm.
got the rest.
Wow, that's so
Yeah.
incredible. Oh, there's so much there. My goodness. So with with your husband, I mean, basically what I was hearing you say is that you did the stuff that you were learning. You
Yes.
showed up, you surrendered to the Lord, you anchored in him, you practiced those anchoring skills, which
Yep.
are simple. They're simple. They're a little bit hard because we're not used to that. We're used to managing and, that kind of thing. But you surrendered and you saw him show up. You basically said, Lord, I'm going to trust you with my daughter.
Yes.
Yes. And that is so hard, right? As moms, because we do trust, we say that, but our
Yeah.
actions are showing different things, right? But you actually trusted that God was working in her life
Mm-hmm.
even though you couldn't see it beforehand, but you started seeing it really quickly. I love that this is what I'm seeing is that through your connection with the Lord and your connection with her, he was able to work in a way that actually she wanted to step away from a relationship that wasn't healthy. You
Mm-hmm.
didn't have to go say, "Oh, you need to get out of that relationship," right? I mean, you kind of let that unpack itself and you listened. I remember that time you were
Yeah.
listening to her and just letting her unpack about the relationship. I don't remember you giving her advice or anything on that. Was that true?
No,
Yeah.
no. It was actually painful because
Okay.
it was painful.
Yeah, yeah.
Because and I learned more, after because she told me so much more. Yeah, she would be with this guy and I didn't realize how bad it was for her, but I always had that inkling. It was
Yeah.
just like, with
Yeah.
regular friends, you have an inkling that maybe something is just not quite right. And I
Right.
had to really just pray and trust that
Yeah.
while she
Yeah.
was away from me, that he was taking care of her.
Wow. And
Mm,
you saw that happen. That's so incredible.
yeah, yeah.
And you didn't have to fix or do. I mean, that's just right. What I think is so important that I want moms to hear is that we can trust the Lord. What I love is that, again, you built that connection so she could come to you.
Hmm.
And you became a healthy, safe place for her to unpack. And from what I remember, she started to discover that this isn't what she wanted
Yeah,
and
yeah.
was able to make those decisions. Yay, 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 praise God.
Yay. Yeah,
And just
yay.
I love how you said about how your your husband gets to take advantage
Yeah.
of what you've learned and is open to these tips of what you give him. He gets to build connection with her in ways
Hmm.
through your influence. And so you're simply doing the stuff
Hmm.
is affecting all of your relationships in your family.
It
Can
really
you
is.
say something real quick about how it's affected both of your relationships with your kids? What about your marriage? Has there been any changes in that or new growth, I guess is a better way to say it?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yay.
Yeah. Well, I think being in such a good place with my kids, I mean, it just takes so much stress off of a marriage.
Hmm.
Then you can just kind of be the parents that you want to be for your kids. And as they're sprouting their wings and slowly leaving the nest, it's leaving space where, my husband and I have to come back together and be a couple again. And
Yeah.
and that's been wonderful because nothing in the family unit right now, and God, please let this continue on, is
Yeah.
stressing out our marriage. Whereas in the
Wow.
past, it absolutely would. Because one of us would be upset or one of us could be stressed out or, whatever it might be. And it just leaves room for us to be able to be there for each other as much
Ah,
as for our kids.
yeah, that's great. So you said there is a lot less stress and there's a lot more peace, not
Mhm.
only in your relationship with your kids, but obviously in with your husband and in your family in general. Sometimes moms think, "Oh, what do I got to learn? I got to do all this stuff." But it sounds like the process, even some of the things were new that you were learning and practicing, that it wasn't a stressful thing to do.
Nope.
Is that
Yeah,
accurate?
no, it wasn't at all. I looked
Okay.
forward to the lessons because
Mm.
I was learning a new skill, but I knew that it was for an ultimate goal that was not only just a desire, but it was like I felt like it was life or death, because I couldn't imagine being in the grandmother stage of my life and
Mm,
being estranged from my kids. I felt like that was the path that was a possibility, something. So I was
mm.
glad to learn the skills, glad to get the coaching and the motivation from you and your team and just be able to really put it into practice right away.
You were very motivated. You were
I was.
motivated. You were motivated. Yes. Well, and how was it for you? I know we work in small groups on our coaching calls, but having other moms there that you
Yeah.
could relate to in some way, how did that affect you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it was a little weird because, you're on a call and you're kind of sharing and you don't know if other people are feeling the same or if they're gonna judge you a little bit. But at the same time, once you start hearing the other stories, you realize you're really not alone. And
That's
someone may
good.
have a different story, but it still leads to the same feelings and it still leads to the same fears and insecurities and the guilt. It just comes out and shows up in different ways for different families. It's like the best thing you could possibly have for your family is learning these types of skills. And so it was really great to hear, how other moms were starting to find peace in their own situations. It was nice.
Working it through together, right? Learning
Hmm.
from each other, even on the calls, even if you don't have the same question. Ah, I just get all excited whenever I talk to you about these kinds of things. Lastly, if a mom is listening who feels stuck where
Hmm.
you once were, maybe they've given up hope or they don't know, they're like maybe not giving up total hope, but they're on that path, wondering, is it too late? What would you want to say to her to encourage her?
So, a couple of things I think. One would be to just try closing your mouth and listening and inviting. Just
Hmm.
try it. It's hard and it's annoying at first, but they just have so much on their mind. They're going through so many
Yes.
things. Being a teen, especially in this world, in this society, with all the pressures that we did not experience with our teenage brains. There's
Yes.
so much going on. It's very disheartening, right, when you really think about it. And if you just start to understand that, you will actually just listen. If they understand that you're just going to listen, they will start talking because they
Hmm.
are craving that from us. the other thing would be to truly anchor yourself in God's love. One of the
Mm.
biggest things that I truly began to understand is that his love for me as my child's mom and his love for my children is immeasurable. I not only got to see and understand his love for my kids, but also for me as his daughter. You think that no one loves your kid more than you, but God does. It's truly amazing. And when you can really understand that and know that He wants to partner with you in the raising of your child, it's just so amazing. That I think is actually one of the biggest things that you helped lead me to in our coaching sessions, no less,
Mm.
to really see that. And for me to be able to come to that realization, Terry, was just the best because it really helped me to surrender to him, knowing that obviously if I surrender this to God, my kids are in the best hands possible.
Oh, wow. That's huge. I mean, that's what we say we believe, right?
Right.
But walking that out is challenging. We think we are, but we're
Yeah.
going about it this other way rather than the surrender anchored way and just remembering who we are in Christ and how much He loves us and our kids. That's huge. For you, the anchoring, this is foundational, right?
Yes.
But how would you explain anchoring to a mom? You kind of did in a way, but is there anything else you want to say about that? What shifted in you that made that possible?
I think for me, the anchoring came from me first reacquainting myself with the Bible, reacquainting myself with understanding that I am truly a daughter of God, the value that He puts on my life, along with every other single person in this entire world's life. And all we need to do is open ourselves up to that. That's all we
Mm,
need to do. What I notice is how many people close themselves off from that. I'm no
yeah,
expert in all
yeah,
this stuff.
yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
speaking from my own experience here. But growing up, knowing God's love, I never questioned it. I never denied it. I always accepted God in my life from when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
But this is different because I started to really understand that if I start to develop my own relationship with Him as His daughter, I can invite Him in a much more anchored way. And that is what's going to help all these other different facets of my life, including my own children.
So instead of looking at yourself, got to be a better mom, it's more of, oh, I am your daughter. Let me, experience God's love. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is so huge.
Yes, it is.
I so appreciate you coming on the podcast, Jessica, and sharing your story and being vulnerable. And I just really want to encourage you. Something that I saw early on as we're talking about anchoring is once you started to practice just doing the skills, there was less fear.
Mm,
And when there was less fear, I saw that it was easier for you to anchor in the process. Does that
yes.
resonate with you? Does that seem
Yes,
okay?
absolutely. I mean, just
Yeah.
even talking with you, I can tell how much more calm I am talking about my kids. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's so true. Yeah, from
It's
that first
not the
conversation,
frantic.
especially. Yeah,
Yeah, it's not the frantic. Oh my gosh, Terry. Like I seriously don't know what to do.
yeah.
You know?
Wow. Yeah, that fear when we can just start releasing that fear to the Lord, so much easier to anchor and trust Him and do the skills. And I'm sure you found this as well. I think we might have even talked about this, that as we even do those communication skills, each one of them helps us to anchor more because
Yeah.
we start seeing our kids responding. We start seeing that they are coming to us. And any other final thoughts as we close up our interview?
I'll say that the communication skills, they worked with my daughter. And of course, there's a whole lifetime ahead of us here.
Yes,
So
yes.
I can see how this is going to continue to play into my daughter, my son, as our family gets extended and grows. I just feel like I have such an amazing gift that
Mm.
just kind of it comes out of me now. That I
Wow.
can be
Okay.
able to use these things. And it's like, you want to try and walk the walk and people will see Jesus in you. I hope that that is part of what's happening here too. I'm so hopeful for the future.
Oh,
Whereas just a year and a half or so ago, I was fearful
yeah,
for
yeah,
everything that lay
yeah.
ahead.
And you are lighter, you are freer, you are more confident in the Lord, confident in your skills. I love that you said that it pours out of you. It's this gift you've been given. It's effortless. It's become more effortless for you. It's part of who you are, how you show up in conversations and things like that. Yay! You've done
Thank you,
wonderful
Terry.
work and continue to. I'm just so excited for you. Thanks again, Jessica, for being on the show, for sharing, being authentic and real about your story. And I know the moms are just going to be so blessed and encouraged.
Well, I hope so. Thank you so much, Terry, for everything you've done for me and for my family.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Love you, girl.
Love you.
Talk to you later. Okay. Thank you, Mom, for joining myself and Jessica on this episode. I know it's a bit longer than normal, but I believe that God has encouraged you, brought you hope and inspiration for the future, that it is not too late that you can do this. So if you're ready to jump off that merry-go-round with your teenager and start making these kinds of changes in your family, then sign up for the free workshop Tuesday evening and we will get you started. All right, as always, rejoicing in hope, this is Terry Lee, and I'll see you next time on Connect with Your Teens. I hope this podcast inspired and encouraged you, and if so, would you share it with another mom who's praying for change in her relationships? And I'd be so blessed if you take 30 seconds to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Your review helps more moms find hope and the encouragement they've been searching for. I'd love to connect with you. Come join my Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/connect with your teens. You don't have to figure this out alone. There's real support waiting for you inside. From one mom who used to walk on eggshells, I see you, and I'm cheering you on. Remember, God loves, adores, and delights in you, and you are the best mom for your kids.